I got I got button happy there
No.
and zip
Uh-oh, I
myself
forgot my
out.
headphones here. Let's see. Can you hear me now? Oh, good. All right. This is lesson two. Lesson two, a spiritual relationship. Did everybody get a chance to read it over before we started? Okay, good. Good, good, good. Well, he starts out by saying, when I was 10 years of age, I looked at the land and the rivers and the sky above and the animals around me and could not fail to realize that they were made by some great power. Do you remember when you first thought that? It was probably so far back that you can't remember when, but I'm sure there was a time. You know what? When I can remember when I was 11 years old, we moved to Colorado, and my mom used to like to go into the mountains a lot. And so one time when we were driving through the mountains, she just casually mentioned how beautiful the mountains were, how pretty they were. And I had never heard that word beautiful applied to nature. You know, I'd heard it applied to pictures and paintings and sculptures and things like that were made, but never to nature. And so I started thinking, well, that must mean that somebody made nature. You know, I was brought up in the Christian church, so didn't have far to go to put that together. But so 11 years old was when I started thinking about those things. I'm sure you did too. It starts out here by saying all tribes and nations at all times and in all places have had the innate basic knowledge or feeling that there is some great spiritual or mental power or person greater than mere human beings. You think that's true? You think everybody, maybe not everybody, but every culture has had some kind of an idea? What do you think? You think that's true? Yeah, the Australian Aborigines, you know, have a whole thing that's their own. If you've ever read that book, oh shoot, what is it? Tales from Down Under, I think it is, something like that. It's a book of written by somebody who traveled with the Aborigines, and it's just chock full of wonderful information. Anyway, all tribes and nations at all times and in all places have felt that there was a great spiritual or mental power or person greater than mere human beings. People have always felt that this power is somehow related to their own spiritual nature. The good medicine teaches that there is a common spiritual father for all people of all nations, races, and colors. So, but every nationality, every culture has their own name for the Great Spirit. You know, I'm sure all of you have a different name for him. You know, we start out by calling him God, but then there's the Great Spirit, and there's the universe, and there's spirit, and there's cosmic intelligence, and then every tribe has got their own name in their own language. So the name that I really like the best is the one by many names, the one who's known by many names. I like that. Well, this all people are spiritual children, brothers and sisters having the same spiritual father. So we have one creator. You know, he's for everybody. It would then follow, if we were children, then we will someday grow to be adults. This is seen in all of creation. Young saplings grow into mature trees, puppies grow into adult dogs. The offspring of all living things grow into the likeness of their parents. You know, and I think that's true, you know, even though I kind of look more like my sister than my mom or dad. But I think people kind of grow up to look and be like their parents. And most of the time it's like, oh no, I'm becoming my mom. You know? But yeah, we grow up to be like our parents. Well, so then if that's true, then how can I have spiritual parents? I mean, I know who my physical parents are, but how can I have spiritual parents? How's that work? We have two parts. We have a physical part and we have a spiritual part. And so the physical part is born and has parents, but the spiritual part is much older and also has parents. It would then follow that the children of the Great Spirit will grow into the same adult status that he possesses and will someday become a spiritual adults in their own right. So, oh boy, we've got a long ways to go. But you have to remember, we started out as electrical and then we became chemical, and then, we traversed up the evolution. So we've come a long ways, but we still have a long ways to go. Following this way of thinking, though, the Great Spirit Father must have been a child before he became an adult. So, oh boy, so the Great Spirit is growing and we're growing, everybody's growing. Eli taught that the Great Spirit Father must have been human before he became God. And since he is perfect as compared to his children, we can say that the Great Spirit Father is a perfected man. So compared to us, yeah, he would be a perfected man. Therefore, the most likely reason for our existence is that we are growing into this perfection. All truth can be found in nature. In all of nature, each species carries within it a duality of genders or polarities, which act together in the reproduction of their offspring or in the germination of seeds. Everything needs an active and passive principle. You can't just have one. If humans have a spiritual father, then they must also have a spiritual mother. Even though the Great Spirit is a perfected being, he could not become father without a female spirit to act as mother to accomplish the miracle of creation. What do you think? Does that sound right to you? Do we have a mother too? It says in the Bible that we have, there's the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, which are all male. So how can they have offspring if they're all male? So I think they got it wrong. I think that the Holy Spirit is the female. I mean, who else would you call holy but your mother? So that's what I think. If humans have a spiritual father, then they must also have a spiritual mother to act. Even though the Great Spirit is a perfect being, he could not become father without a female spirit to act as mother to accomplish the miracle of creation. If you look at any species here on earth, it's all the same. There's a mom and a dad, and then they have children. All animals are like that. Even trees are like that. Flowers are like that. All kinds of things are like that. The Popol Vuh says, great were the descriptions of the account of how the sky and earth were formed, as told by the Creator and Maker, the mother and father of life, of all things created. He who gives breath and thought, she who gives birth to the children, he who watches over the happiness of the people, the happiness of the human race, the wise man, he who meditates on the goodness of all that exists in the sky, on the earth, in the lakes, and the sea. Wow. So it says, you are a spiritual being, a child of this celestial family, a God in the making. Now that sounds just horrible sacrilegious. But in the Bible, it says that very thing. I don't know why they overlook it. You could look it up. Psalms 82, verse 6 says, I have said, ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High. It says that right there. But I have heard preachers say that, oh no, we're a whole different species. We're not connected to God at all. God is all powerful. We're not anything like him. And so I've heard them say that we're adopted or that we're purchased. I heard somebody say that we're purchased. It's like, No, no, no. We're family. If God created us, which it says in the Bible that God created everything, then we have to be part of God. We just have to be. You are a spiritual being, a child of this celestial family, a God in the making. As a child has part of the powers and abilities of its parents, you carry inside you a part of the power of the Great Spirit, your Father. Oh my gosh, this is worthy of meditation, because wow, what a thought. Here, we're not only part of the Great Spirit's family, but we also have a part of his power. It says that we already create our tomorrows with the thoughts that we think today. Now it's just time for us to learn how to create more of what we want and less of what we don't want, because we've totally messed up the earth by doing it our way. So now it's time to figure out how to do it right. A mere realization of this fact will release a part of this power for your use. Someday you will grow into an adult spiritually and have all the powers of an adult. So what do you think that is? A mere realization of this fact will release a part of this power for your use. Why do you think that is? Just thinking about that. You know, it's like we've been told that we've been given an identity, you know, from the time that we were born, and we're told that, oh, we can only get so far, and after that we have to ask for forgiveness and beg for forgiveness, or we won't get any farther. But this says no one can stop your progress. You will be like your spiritual father, the great chief of the spirit world, a creator in your own right. And as we progress, you know, we develop psychic powers and different things that people think are weird and unusual and strange. And oh my gosh, we should be afraid of those people because they're weird. But no, we're just evolving. That's part of evolution, is to turn on those things that make us more like the creator. So it's not a strange thing. It's just something that we probably haven't experienced a lot of. So yeah, it seems strange, but it's really not. It's part of what we're supposed to be doing. Well, so we know about the father and the mother. Well, what else is out there that's part of our family? Well, this says that there are 3 basic types of planets or worlds in our solar system. There's the celestial, which is star-like; terrestrial, terra firma, you know, is Earth-like; and then the telestial, which you have to use a telescope to see. Those are the planets that are farther away from the Earth, farther away from the sun than is the Earth. So the telestial are the farther away ones, and the terrestrial is Earth, and the celestial is a star. So the sun is the celestial world in our solar system. Now, our solar system is kind of a blueprint for the rest of the solar systems in the universe. So we're only going to talk about our solar system, but it's the same everywhere. Eli taught that there are 3 basic types of planets or worlds in our solar system: the celestial, terrestrial, and telestial. All worlds are inhabited by beings with physical bodies suited for their worlds. The sun is the celestial world in our solar system. The Great Spirit and those with sufficiently high vibrations to live there dwell in the celestial world. So the Hopi stories say that God looks through the face of the sun. But he's not really the sun. The sun is his body, kind of like this is our body is physical, and our spirit looks through our body. And so the sun is not really the spirit father. It's just his body. The book of the Hopi says, with the pristine wisdom granted them, they understood that the earth was a living entity like themselves. She was their mother. They were made from her flesh. They suckled at her breasts, for her milk was the grass upon which all animals grazed, and the corn which had been created specially to supply food for mankind. In their wisdom, they also knew their father in two aspects. He was the sun and the solar god of their universe. Not until he first appeared to them at the time of the red light, Talawa, had they been fully formed and formed, yet his was but the face through which looked Taiwa, their creator. These universal entities were their real parents, their human parents being but the instruments through which their power was made manifest. That's kind of an interesting way to look at your parents, your physical parents. It's the instruments through which their power was made manifest. So Eli taught that the sun is the physical body of the Great Spirit, and the earth is the body for the spirit of our Holy Mother. Okute, or Shooter, says all living creatures and all plants derive their life from the sun. If it were not for the sun, there would be darkness and nothing could grow. The earth would be without life. Yet the sun must have the help of the earth. If the sun alone were to act upon the animals and plants, the heat would be so great that they would die. But there are clouds that bring rain, and the action of the sun and earth together supply the moisture that is needed for life. The roots of a plant go down, and the deeper they go, the more moisture they find. This is according to the laws of nature and is one of the evidences of the wisdom of Waikantaka. Rolling Thunder says, the earth is a body, a gigantic body of conscious, struggling, living being. The body belongs to a being, an individual with an identity and purpose. That being exists here now. We have to be within it like cells. It's very important for people to realize this. The earth is a living organism, the body of a higher individual who has a will and wants to be well, who is at times less healthy or more healthy, physically and mentally. So what evidence is there of that we have a spirit father? You know, if you look at your parents, you know, your dad goes off, usually this is how it is. Your dad goes off and makes money and comes home, and mom makes the house. She, you know, makes everybody comfortable. She usually buys the furniture, she fixes the curtains, and she, you know, makes it all livable and provides the food. But she wouldn't be able to do any of that if dad hadn't brought home a paycheck. And it's kind of like with the sun and the earth, you know, without the sun provides the energy for the earth to produce things. So it's kind of the same thing. Bidagi, or Big Thunder, says, the Great Spirit is our father, but the earth is our mother. She nourishes us. That which we put into the ground, she returns to us. And healing plants, she gives us likewise. She provides everything that we need with the help of the Great Spirit. The Winnebago wise saying says, Holy Mother Earth, the trees and all nature are witnesses of your thoughts and deeds. What do you think this is saying? The trees and all of nature are witnesses of your thoughts and deeds. So what do you think? Do they feel the Mother Earth? Are they healthy when she's healthy? How does that work? You know, I've noticed that earthquakes follow solar flares by just a day or two. So I'm thinking that the earth feels that. Maybe she also feels us doing our, you know, looking for minerals and blowing up different things. What do they call that? Where they blow up the ground, trying to crack it and trying to bring the gases up towards the top. I don't know what it's called.
It's fracking.
Fracking. There you go. Anyway, I'm sure she feels that. So, man, the Mother Earth is witnesses of, or the trees and all of nature are witnesses of your thoughts and deeds. Well, the body of the mother comprises the terrestrial world, which is our earth. Humans dwell in this terrestrial world and have bodies which are designed for the ecology of their planet. or plane of existence, being lower in vibration than those spirits with celestial bodies. The telestial worlds are inhabited by beings with bodies of very low, coarse vibrations, as is necessary for their worlds of darkness and cold. Although these beings may indeed live in our terrestrial world in the form of rocks and crystals, for example, only they can live on the worlds which are at the greatest distance from the sun. So the telestial worlds are like Pluto and Neptune and Jupiter and Saturn and all that, the ones that are far away. I was watching this documentary on Pluto, which they were saying Pluto was just a dead rock, didn't have any life on it at all. And so they were showing that yes, there is some kind of thing in the middle of the planet that's heats up. It has a core of some kind of nuclear or something or other and it has volcanoes, and it erupts with, not lava, but it has I think they called it nitrogen, solid nitrogen that comes out of these things, and I don't know. It was just the weirdest thing. I thought, wow, so Pluto is alive. Okay, so all these planets are alive. They all of them are. They have a like the Earth is. We have a core that's it's alive. It's fire. It's the magma, and so I think all the planets are kind of like that. They all have a life. Well, so did you have questions about this one? Does this make sense to you? I've thought, I had always, brought up as a Christian, I'd always thought about the Heavenly Father. Great Spirit wasn't such a big far removed from that. And later on, I became aware that the earth was our mother, but it never occurred to me that they were working together. it was a mutual thing. That was kind of a new idea. So what do you think? Is that a new idea for you too? Thinking of them working together like that? Well, let's try to answer some of these questions. So how do the Indians regard the supreme spiritual power? Grant, what do you think? How did they regard the supreme spiritual power?
Through the sun.
Yes. Is he related to us?
Yes.
Yes, he's our father.
He's our father.
So, and our relationship to the Great Spirit Father then is we're children. We're his children. We belong to him. What evidence is there in nature for humans to observe and understand that their spiritual relationship to the Great Father? So what does he do for us? Everything. Yes, without the sun, oh my gosh, would we have anything? We wouldn't have anything. We wouldn't even be alive without the sun. No, we would have nothing without the sun. Oh my gosh. But we need the mother too. She couldn't provide us with all the stuff that we need to live without the sun. Okay. What is the most likely reason for our existence? Mia, what do you think?
It's to grow and become like our spirit father.
Yes. Slowly, every lifetime we learn a little bit more, and so it takes us forever. And since we have our free will, we're allowed to take as many side trips as we want. We don't have to, go straight there. We can mess around and screw things up and have to relearn it and figure it out again. He doesn't care. It takes as long as we want.
Misty, what do you think in regards to the theory that reversing that we're remembering who we are, that the whole experience of our lives of living and everything that we're doing, all these lives, is to remember who we are?
Yes.
Seems to be more dominant now in people's thoughts or
Well, and you know why I think that is because so many old souls are being born right now to try to help us push. We stand at the cusp between two ages. Actually, we're in the last dying embers of the Piscean age, which was the age of belief, and so we had the many miracles in which we could not know. But now we're moving into Aquarius, which is the age of knowledge, where it's not good enough to believe somebody else anymore. We hear all this fake news. That didn't really happen. I don't believe that. Well, because if you weren't there, it's like you have to be there. You have to have your own personal experience or know somebody who was personally there or have a video of it. They say if you didn't catch it on video, it didn't happen. Well, that's kind of if you weren't there, you don't really know what you're talking about. So it's kind of the same thing. Okay, so we talked about the mother, we talked about the father, the three basic types of worlds. So each of these worlds also has a consciousness, which we'll talk about later. But the mother comprises the terrestrial world. And what kind of beings live in the terrestrial world? What kind of beings live here? Besides us, there's us, yes. But we also have animals and plants and trees and rocks and all kinds of things. I remember Eli talking about how he didn't believe rocks were alive for a long time. He just could not wrap his head around how rocks were alive. And then one time he said he was doing some peyote out in the desert, and he says that there were big rocks right where they were doing this, and he said one of the rocks started talking to him. so so yeah, now he knows rocks are alive because he had that experience. But I think peyote and all kinds of things can give you all sorts of revelations. So how does the Holy Mother and Great Spirit Father work together to bring up their children?
That's going to bring the duality in, the spirit and the physical. You have to have the father and the mother to have this experience, spirit and flesh.
Yes, yes. The father provides the energy, and the mother provides everything that grows from her. So which of the beings on the three different worlds do you think are the children of the Holy Mother and Great Spirit Father? In the outer worlds, there's just darkness and cold. There's just rocks and crystals and what lives out there. Some gases, I suppose, electrical things. So are they part of the Great Spirit's children? Odell, what do you think? Uh-oh. Can't figure out how to turn it on.
Yes, I couldn't do it. It was not cooperating with me at all. So,
Been there.
I'll talk about a glitch. Oh. Yeah, absolutely. Everything is together, and everything would be the children of the Great
Yes.
Spirit, and it's all one beautiful living being, frankly, in my opinion. That it's
Yes.
all one beautiful part of a system. Just like our bodies. Um, when I studied, I don't know how you can study science, biology, and not just fall into awe. When you look and see that there are nebula that look just like the human egg, or even if you just look at Da Vinci or Van Gogh and the way he would paint his sky, and then you look at Saturn, and it's the same thing.
Oh my
I just
gosh.
think it's all so connected. But yeah, definitely. No, we're all children. We're all evolving.
Yes. So did you write down any questions? Did you write down anything that you wanted to talk about?
I I I have my biggest concern is you mentioned the mining or the fracking. I'm so concerned that we have pushed the mother to the point where she's, what are we doing when we change? What are we doing to her chemistry when we take away her lithium, when we take away her gold, when we take away her silver? They don't even evaluate that. If you took all the potassium out of my body, my heart would stop. You just can't. I'm so concerned about that. I am so, I think about healing in those terms of correcting the damage that we've done to her. But somehow I see a link because we are her children, that as we heal her. That is, as she heals, we are healed. And also all other living beings, those seen and unseen. So I have these big, edgy questions, and so I'm the worst person to ask a question because I'm coming in with this much worry and burden and commitment and devotion to it. But uh, uh, I know we have to begin at the beginning. I know that the those that have been human beings on this earth long before the first king and queen, they were living in total balance with the earth. And if we can get back to living in balance, I think that's our best chance. That's all I can say about it.
I
Yes.
think
And I'll hush.
I think you need to think like what a mother's role is in the world. Mothers are always sacrificing. They're
That's
all
right.
they're always taking care of their children somehow, some way,
That's
above and
right.
beyond. I think it's the same thing with the planet. I think the
Yeah.
Mother Earth is doing the same. She's doing that for her kids, and she wouldn't want it any other way. But we do
No.
smarter, like any kid
Yeah.
has to do with their parents, and it's part of that evolution,
That's
right?
right. And I think some of us are my age, where our children go from being 100% of our energy time, their food, their sleep, their welfare. And now we kick back more into a role of, so how's that going for you? And the joy of being a grandparent, where now you really is nothing is a big deal. Yeah, it really is not a big deal. Um, but so, and our relationship with our parents as my mother became older, it became tender in a different way. The whole dynamic shifted. And I think maybe that's our role now, is that we need to be caring for her. Um,
Yes.
I don't know. What do you guys think about that
And how
as
how
well?
mature do we have to be to think about that? Because I mean, in your own family,
Um,
have you ever asked your mom if she needed help with anything?
oh yeah. Well, always, yeah. Yeah.
Well, oh, good for you. That
Yeah,
rarely
absolutely.
happens.
Well, and there's the theory now too, where Mother Earth is asked to move into another dimension because she is sort of tired and needs a rest.
Yeah.
So part of what everything that we're going through, whether it be through the age of Aquarius or everything, kind of like is we're moving into another dimension with her. And it's forced. So that's why all this chaos, that's why all these things are going on right now, because it's forcing
Yeah.
to deal with all the stuff that we have done in the past, for lack of better
Yeah.
ways.
No, I think that's true. I think it's true. I think we're forced to deal with it. I think that if our systems fail, because we're knuckleheads right now, as systems fail and HEB doesn't open up, that will force us back to one another. I can say it's always interesting to me, even with the riots and all, but what happens is that when there's one force or power, that we end up reaching out to one another. Complete and total strangers become aligned. And so I think that at a larger scale, as we're finding that the weather shifts and the things that we absolutely must deal with, it realigns us back to one another.
Just compare the protests right now in Iran and in the States.
Yes.
Two very different, but the president of the States is saying, oh, he wants to help the protesters in Iran, which is kind of like completely ironic to everything that's going on in the States. So it is kind of like a lot of conflict coming together, but there's a lot of this happening, and we don't know what's happening in the world right now.
No, we don't. We really don't. We really don't.
Everywhere. Yeah, these protests are everywhere. So it's happening bigger than I think
Yeah.
we can realize.
And I think
He's
it's
pissed off the entire world.
he has.
He's the catalyst. He's the catalyst.
He's the catalyst. And I really do feel that this is what has to happen. I think, do you all kind of get a
Yeah.
sense that it's just like a time of shedding, a time of realignment, or whatever that is? I think that's why I most want to know about this knowledge, this ancient knowledge, because it's not going to be, who is it said that it's not going forward, but going back to the red road, going back to the ways of the ancestors will be the way forward. Is to go
Yes.
back to what was taught, and that's our way forward. And so that's really why I'm here, is to relearn everything that's relevant to that. I believe
It
I don't
really
know.
makes a big difference how you look at the world, how you
Yeah,
look at
it
our
does.
place in the world. And the very next thing we're going to talk about is the circle and the tree of life. And so it will show you how everything is related. Like you were
Awesome.
saying, it's all one thing. It's all part of one,
All
one
one
great
thing.
big tree of life. A tree, it's the creator's family tree. So that's what we'll talk about next time.
Okay.
So you got that lesson, and so I hope you read it and write down questions if you've got questions.
We will. This will be a slower time than last week. Last week was nuts. It was nuts.
So yes. Well, thank you very much for coming, and I really appreciate being here.
Oh, bless you. Thank you for having us.
Have a
Pleasure
you.
seeing everyone.
Yes,
You
nice
too.
to see you all.
Hopefully next time I'll have a video. I still can't get my camera to work.
Oh no. Oh, no.
Oh,
I'm a blank screen again.
yeah. Okay, we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Carol.
Bye.